Howdy, my name is Nonat, and y'all, I know this is my third video this week talking about the remaster. I know I've been hyped in every single intro. I know I've already talked about a feat from every single class, but I would be lying if I told you that this right here, this subject of today's video, it's the thing I've been most hyped about since reading the remastered rulebook. Which rework? No, get that out of here. New feats? Go away. I'm talking about an action that used to be so weak and worthless, it was ignored for the entire lifespan of Pathfinder 2e up to the remaster. Paizo tried so hard to give it synergies with certain classes and different effects and feats that would augment this action to make it better, and nothing was ever good enough. Until now. In the Pathfinder 2e remaster, they have fixed the Disarm action. Yes! Yes, rejoice with me, Pathfinder fans! Fighters with athletics focus, swashbucklers who want to do fancy things, rejoice! So, how did they fix it? Well, let me dash your hopes right now. No, do not just disarm on a success. That is not a thing, that will never be a thing. But let's go over the action now and see what it does. Disarm. For one action, you have to have at least one hand free unless your weapon has the disarm trait, meaning even if you've got a two-handed weapon, if it's got the disarm trait, you don't need that free hand prerequisite. And the target can't be more than one size larger than you, unless, of course, you've got Titan Wrestler. You try to knock an item out of a creature's grasp. Attempt an athletics check against the target's reflex DC. If you critically succeed, it does knock the item out of their hands onto the space right below them. This is the exact same as it is in current. It's fine. It'd be nice if you could knock it to an adjacent space, but whatever. The real improvement comes on the success. You weaken your target's grasp on the item. Further attempts to disarm the target of that item gain a +2 circumstance bonus. And the target takes a -2 circumstance penalty to all attack rolls with that item, or any checks involving affirming their grip on the item. The creature can end the effect by spending an action to reaffirm their grip on the item. So, I know what you're all thinking right now. That's the exact same definition. Nothing is different. That is all the exact same as it is in the normal game. Well, let me read the last line. The creature can end the effect by interacting to change its grip on the item. Otherwise, it lasts as long as the creature holds the item. If you recall, originally, this penalty only lasted until the end of the target's turn. So, if they didn't want to waste the action and just take the -2 penalty, it would go away at the end of the turn. You used an action to inflict a small penalty to attack rolls. Whoop-de-doo, it's gone. Now, if they don't use that action to fix their grip, they're at -2 to attack rolls permanently. This does not go away. You don't need to disarm every single turn to keep that penalty on there. Think of this in a boss fight scenario. Your fighter, super spec'd into disarming with an insane athletics bonus, succeeds. The boss only gets 3 actions on their turn, and their choice is now succumb to that -2 to attack penalties forever to keep their 3 actions per turn, or sacrifice a third of their actions to fix it. Let me explain this in a different way. You can now think of disarm as one action athletics check to inflict stunned 1. How does that sound? How does that sound in comparison to how it's explained here? If the target needs to spend an action to reaffirm their grip, otherwise it's a permanent penalty, they're probably gonna do it. Maybe something like a troll or an ogre or something that's enraged might not think hard enough to do it, in which case they're just permanently debuffed on all their attack rolls forever. But otherwise, a smart creature is probably going to spend the action to reaffirm their grip, losing one of their 3 actions. At face value, it can feel like, oh, you sacrificed an action, so they sacrifice an action. That's equal trade-off, right? Wrong! If you're a party of 4, you get 12 actions per turn. The boss only gets 3. Suddenly, you've only sacrificed 1 out of 12 actions to sacrifice one of their 1 out of 3 actions. That economy boost is insane. Imagine if you can disarm them and then take a step action backwards. If they want to hit you, now they need to reaffirm their grip, step up to you, and they only get 1 attack. I feel like disarm and step is going to be a nutty combo. Think about this on a mid-ranged, ranged character with a short bow. Short bows, unless you're shooting them, only take 1 hand, which means you have a free hand. Which means if you're in melee, you can disarm them, take a step action backwards, and then shoot them in the face. Now, beyond making this better, Paizo really wants you to use Disarm. I want to showcase 2 of the feats in this book, one for rogues, 1 for fighters. That's just fan-freaking-tastic. Let's start with the rogue feat, because I talked about that in my video on Monday. Sly Disarm. First off, you can now roll thievery instead of athletics to disarm a target. This is such a fantasy for people. Not everyone wants to strong arm the weapon out of their hands. A lot of people want to sleight of hand, distract them, poke and prod them in different ways that makes them drop their weapon. That's fantastic, and now your 20 dexterity, 8 strength thievery rogue can disarm people. That's great. Your dexterity-based swashbuckler, whenever it comes out in the remaster, can now, well, I don't know if, I hope swashbucklers get this feat. I guess you could take the rogue archetype. Maybe. Swashbucklers better get this feat, Paizo. But yeah, the dexterity disarmer is now real. Beyond that, the sly disarm feat is insane. Because if you succeed with your disarm action, not critically succeed, just a normal success, the target is off guard against you until the end of your current turn. That means your rogue has a way to activate sneak attack even if they're not flanking, even if they're not hidden. If you are in that awkward situation where you are alone, 1v1 against a target and the rest of your party is occupied, you can't flank this turn, you can't hide this turn, boom! Sly disarm. You disarm them, sure, you take a small penalty because your disarm is an attack action, so your next attack is going to be at -4 if you've got an agile weapon, but guess what? You made them off guard. Their AC just went down by 2. You're only taking a net -2 to your attack roll to activate your sneak attack, which is already going to be 2d6, probably 3d6 in a couple of levels. Phenomenal feat. The other feat I want to draw attention to is Disarming Twist, which has been given such a facelift. This is another one of those sad fighter feats that most of the time got looked over because Disarm was not worth it. But now, Disarm is phenomenal. Let's look at this feat now. For 1 action, as long as you're trained in athletics, you're a fighter, as long as you're wielding a single one-handed melee weapon and holding nothing else in your hands, you can make a strike. And this strike, along with dealing damage, also has the effects of a disarm attempt. The only thing rough about this is that it's a press trait. So it is going to be at -5, maybe -4 if you're using a finesse agile weapon, but that's not bad. You're a fighter. Your attack rolls are your highest bonus. So you can now attack with a disarm effect. Your attack now can inflict a permanent -2 penalty. Your attack now can inflict stunned 1. Plus, if you took the disarming stance feat at level 6, you get a +1 circumstance bonus to the attack roll. This fighter feat just gave the fighter a bonus to attack rolls. That does not happen because the fighter does not need it. But now, if you're using an agile weapon, you're in disarming stance, boom, you're only at a net -3 to your second attack, and this is an attack that also disarms at the same time. I would wager that if this didn't have the press action and just read as you make a strike that also has the effects of a disarm attempt at -3 to your attack roll, people would use that in a heartbeat. Everybody would use that in a heartbeat because that is 2 actions for 1 action at a very minor penalty for the fighter. Disarming Twist is incredible. The +1 from being in disarming stance is new, and I think it is phenomenal. So Paizo has made the changes to Disarm to finally make it viable. Is it the best choice in every situation? No, of course not. A lot of monsters don't even hold weapons, and even if they do, you might be better off just going for damage. But if you build a Disarm fighter, or you take Sly Disarm on your rogue, you're gonna hold up. Disarm is not gonna be pointless because the GM ignored it. It's gonna last. It's gonna stay there. And if they don't use the action to fix their grip, your next Disarm gets a +2 to disarm them, making it that much easier to critically succeed and smack the weapon out of their hands. But maybe I'm overselling it. Maybe I'm just excited because Disarm is finally not worthless. What do you think? Do you think these changes, these feat upgrades, and the action upgrade itself is enough to put Disarm into the standard typical table? I want to know. That's all for me. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. And until next time, no nat ones.